The cage you built for yourself. You think you're kind, you think you're noble, you think your sacrifice makes you strong. But let me tell you something you've been too afraid to say out loud. You are destroying yourself and you don't even see it. Every time you smile when you want to scream, every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you betray your own truth to keep the peace. You are carving a little more of your soul out of existence. This isn't generosity, it's not compassion, it's self-erasure. As you've bend you fold. You disappear just to avoid making others uncomfortable. You wear their expectations like armor. But that armor is made of paper and it's burning. They've convinced you that being agreeable is strength, that silence is maturity, that saying, "it's fine," when it isn't is emotional intelligence. It's not, it's cowardice wrapped in virtue. It's fear dressed as empathy. You weren't born like this. You were trained to fear rejection, trained to fear being misunderstood, trained to believe that your worth depends on the smiles of others. And now you move through the world like a ghost in your own story. You anticipate their moods before they speak. You manage their emotions before they even feel them. You scan the room like a soldier in enemy territory, not to protect yourself, but to make sure no one else has upset you. Don't live, you perform. You don't feel, you function. You don't speak, you swallow every word, every opinion, every need, and then you wonder why you're exhausted, why your chest feels tight, why you wake up dreading the day ahead. It's because you've built a cage, a beautiful, invisible, inescapable cage, and you did it with your own hands, brick by brick, smile by smile, apology by apology. You lock yourself in. You think you're helping, you think you're the strong one, but what you're really doing is abandoning yourself. That's the truth no one wants to hear, because it's easier to applaud a martyr than to acknowledge the manipulation hidden in the sacrifice. You don't say yes because you want to. You say yes because you're terrified of what will happen if you don't. You don't compromise because it's noble. You compromise because you believe your needs are too much. You give and give and give, not from overflow but from depletion. And you call it love. You call it kindness, but it's fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being alone. So you shrink, you dim, you bend until there's nothing left of you but a shape others find convenient. You don't live your life. You survive other people's comfort, and every time you do it, a part of you dies, not all at once, slowly, quietly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. Your dreams postponed, your voice muted, your boundaries non-existent. You are not generous. You are not kind. You are afraid, and that fear has become your identity. It's dressed up as virtue, but it is a leash, and you hold it tight because letting go would mean facing the truth that the life you've built wasn't for you. It was for them, for their approval, for their applause, for their comfort. You have made yourself a sacrifice on the altar of validation, and now you wonder why you feel so empty. It's because you are starving for your own truth, starving for your own voice, starving for the freedom to just exist, not as they want you to be, but as you are. And that is the scariest thing of all, isn't it? To show up unmasked, to be seen, to be judged, to be rejected. But hear me now. There's no respect in being invisible. There is no dignity in pleasing everyone but yourself. There's no strength in disappearing. You don't earn love by bleeding. You don't gain worth by fading. Respect does not come to those who kneel. It comes to those who rise. So rise, tear down the mask, speak the truth. Even if your voice shakes, even if they leave, even if they hate you for it. Because the cost of their approval is your soul, and that is a price too high. You were not born to please. You were born to live. And the first step toward freedom is saying no. Not with apology, not with shame, but with the fire of someone who finally remembers who they are. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them talk. Let them leave you. You will stay with yourself for the first time. And that is the beginning of everything. The programmed persona. You didn't choose the mask. You inherited it. You built it out of fear and praise. Out of the echo of a world that rewarded silence and punished truth, you learned early. Some parts of you aren't acceptable. Too loud, too needy, too angry, too real, so you hid them. Beneath smiles, behind helpfulness, inside sacrifice, and every time you were praised for being quiet. Every time someone said, "You're so easy to be around," you felt safe, you felt loved, you felt worth something. But that safety was conditional. That love had terms: be agreeable, be soft, be available, be everything but yourself. And you obeyed because children don't choose survival, they adapt to it. So you became who they needed you to be: polite, pleasant, predictable, perfect. They called it maturity. They called it strength. But what they really meant was silence. You were trained to disappear in plain sight, not to disturb the water, not to ruffle the peace. So you became the peacekeeper, the helper, the fixer, the strong one, and they loved you for it, because you made their lives easier. But while they rested in your sacrifice, you suffocated in your role, and then you forgot. You forgot there was a you underneath the role. This is the trap of the persona. You start wearing the mask so often you think it's your face, but it's not. It never was. It's a costume stitched together from compliments and avoidance, and now you don't know what's real anymore. Your wants feel like guilt, your needs feel like burdens. Your anger feels like failure, because the mask is glued so tightly. It hurts to peel it off. You fear being called selfish, you fear being misunderstood, you fear becoming the villain in someone else's story. So you stay quiet, you smile, you serve, and the world applauds you as you slowly vanish. But let me ask, you something who applauds when you finally break? Who shows up when your kindness becomes exhaustion? Who notices the tears behind the strength? No one, because they believed the performance, and now so did you. But here's the truth you can no longer ignore. You are not the role you play. You are not the applause you earn. You are not the shape you contort yourself into. To be loved, you are the soul behind the mask, and that soul is suffocating. Persona isn't your identity, it's your shield. It kept you safe when you needed it, but now it's killing you, and the only way to live is to let it go. Let them call you selfish. Let them call you difficult. Let them say you've changed, because you are remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And that version of you, the real one, they're not easy, they're not convenient, but they are free, and freedom is worth everything. The price of pleasing there is a price for this performance, and it is steep. You think you're doing the right thing. You think you're avoiding pain, but what you're really doing is trading your soul for silence, because pleasing everyone, it doesn't work. Not in the long run. You don't get love, you get expectations. You don't get freedom, you get roles to maintain, and slowly it eats you alive. The exhaustion isn't in your schedule, it's in your spirit. The fatigue isn't physical, it's emotional decay. You thus spent years being everything for everyone except for yourself, and now you don't even know what you want anymore, or tired. And you think rest will help, but it won't. Not until you stop living a life that doesn't belong to you. You're anxious, and you think it's stress, but it's not. It's self-abandonment masquerading as productive issue. Depressed, and you think it's weakness, but it's not. It's the soul's cry for authenticity. Every fake smile, every swallowed truth, every forced apology. It stacks up, it piles on, until you collapse beneath the weight of your own suppression. You don't even realize it anymore, because it's automatic. You say yes before you think. You nod before you feel. You smile before you check if you're okay. And they think you're fine, because that's the lie you've perfected. But inside, there's a storm, because the truth is screaming. It wants out. And you're terrified of what will happen if you let it. What if they leave? What if they get angry? What if they stop loving you? But here's the deeper question. What if you keep going like this? What happens if you never stop? You lose yourself entirely, the real you, the wild, untamed, unapologetic you gets buried beneath layers of politeness, of guilt, of fear. And that's the ultimate tragedy, because the world doesn't get you. It gets a diluted version of you. Your friends, they love the mask. Your family, they Expect the performance, but no one sees the fire underneath. No one meets the soul beneath the silence because you never let them. You were too busy trying to be liked, too busy trying not to upset anyone. But being liked is not the same as being loved. Being accepted is not the same as being known. And now, you're surrounded by relationships that feel shallow, conversations that feel empty, connections that feel fake. You wonder why you feel alone. It's because you are. You left yourself behind, but not anymore. This is the turning point. This is where the script flips. You were not born to be palatable. You were not born to be convenient. You were not born to make everyone else comfortable at the cost of your own sanity. So let them be uncomfortable. Let them squirm in the silence of your honesty. Let them choke on the truth you've buried for too long, because you're done begging, done explaining, done breaking yourself into digestible pieces. Are not here to be liked. You're here to be real, and real isn't always easy. It's not always pretty, but it's always worth it. You want peace? Start a war with your people-pleasing. You want clarity? Cut through the noise of everyone else's expectations. You want power? Take back the energy you've spent performing. It's not too late. You can still come home to yourself, but it starts with one bold, terrifying, liberating truth. You do not owe anyone your compliance. You do not owe them your silence. You do not owe them your comfort. You owe yourself the truth, and that truth, it's ready to rise. Let it scream, let it burn, because what comes next isn't obedience, it's rebellion, and from that rebellion you will rise anew. Awakening. There comes a moment, not loud, not grand, but sharp, piercing, final, the moment where you hear your own silence and realize it isn't peace, it's suppression. The moment when the smile you wear starts to feel like a gag, when the yes in your throat tastes like betrayal, when your reflection blinks back not with pride, but with pity. That's when the truth hits. You are not this mask. You never were this character. You've perfected the agreeable one, the soft one, the strong for everyone else one. It's not you. It's a role, a cage, a camouflage. And now you see it, all of it. The nights you cried because you couldn't say what you meant. The moments you wanted to scream but swallowed it whole. The love you gave to people who never earned it. You see it and you can't unsee it. There's rage there, but deeper than that, there is grief. You're mourning the years you abandoned yourself. You're grieving the strength you spent hiding your truth. But this grief, it's sacred, it's honest. It's the beginning of your resurrection, because finally, you understand truth is not convenient, it's not pretty, it's not polite, but it's yours, and you're done trading it for approval yet. Still there's fear. Of course there is. What happens when you stop pretending? When you stop smoothing over the cracks? When you say no and don't explain it away? The guilt comes first. It clings to your skin like shame. Who do you think you are? It whispers, don't be selfish. You hear echoes of the voices that raised you, voices that taught you love must be earned, that boundaries are rejection, that needs are burdens. You feel their weight, but this time you don't collapse beneath it, because something else is rising. Not rage, not defiance, something deeper, clarity. You begin to see the difference between guilt and wrongdoing, between discomfort and danger. Saying no doesn't make you cruel. Choosing yourself doesn't make you broken. Taking space doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you whole. You start small. One refusal, one truth, one breath where you choose honesty over harmony. It shakes, it trembles, but it holds, and you realize you didn't die. No one exploded. The world kept turning, and you felt alive. That aliveness, it spreads every time you step closer to yourself. Something sacred returns. Your voice, your instinct, your anger, your passion. You were never meant to be silent. You were never meant to be soft for others. Comfort. You were meant to burn, and now the fire is catching. You're shedding skins, old identities, old expectations. You feel the discomfort, but this time, you don't run from it. You let it hurt, because pain is proof that you're healing from something real. And the shame, it tries to anchor you to the past, but you cut the chain, because shame has nothing left to teach you. You no longer bow to the rules. You didn't write. You no longer shrink to fit their comfort. This is not rebellion. This is return, a return to what was always underneath the performance, the raw, the wild, the beautiful, the terrifying you. And now that you've seen it, now that you've touched that truth, you can never go back. They'll try to pull you into the old dance. They'll say you've changed, that you're cold, that you're distant, but you'll know the truth. You're just done bleeding for people who never learned to bandage their own wounds. You're just done kneeling at altars that never worshipped you. You're not angry, you're awake, and with that awakening comes power, not the kind they gave you, the kind you remembered. You are no longer a participant in your own silencing. You are the voice, you are the storm, you are the reckoning, and this is only the beginning. Confronting the shadow. You want freedom? Then stop running from the part of you that you've locked away. Stop running from the anger you call dangerous, the resentment you call ugly, the truth you buried beneath 1,000 smiles. Because here's the truth. You can't rise until you face what you've buried. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's your exile. It's everything you disowned just to survive. They told you to be good, so you hid your rage. They told you to be kind, so you smothered your fire. They told you to be agreeable, so you silenced your truth. But now that fire is roaring behind your ribs, it's not waiting for permission anymore. You've been polite long enough. You've smiled your way into invisibility. You've traded truth for peace and lost both. So now you turn inward, and there it is, the part of you that screams when you stay silent, the part that burns when you betray yourself, the part that says enough. Look at it. Really look. That's your shadow, and it's not here to hurt you. It's here to heal you. It holds your anger, but also your boundaries. It holds your pride, but also your power. It holds your darkness, but also your depth. You thought hiding it made you lovable, but it only made you hollow. You thought repressing it made you safe, but it only made you smaller. The world taught you that to be worthy, you must be soft, but softness without strength is surrender. So you call it out. You name the feelings that twist your gut. You speak the truths you were never allowed to say. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I have needs. Yes, I want more. You admit what you've been afraid to feel, and suddenly you feel whole. Because all those parts you've rejected, they were never flaws. They were fragments of your fire. You just never let them breathe. Now they are breathing. Now you reclaim the voice they told you was too loud. You reclaim the hunger they told you was too much. You reclaim the fight they told you was too dangerous, and in doing so, you reclaim yourself. This is what it means to confront the shadow, not to destroy it, but to integrate it, to say yes. This is me too, the fire, the fury, the refusal to kneel in. When you stop apologizing for your shadow, you stop being a prisoner. You start becoming a weapon, because no one can control a person who has met their own darkness. No one can shame you with what you've already accepted. No one can manipulate you with the fear of being unloved when you've finally loved yourself. Completely, you're no longer split between who you are and who they want you to be. You're no longer afraid of your reflection. You've met your shadow, and you've walked through it. Now you rise, not as the mask, not as the role, but as the whole. Let them tremble, let them question, let them whisper. You are not here to make them comfortable. You are here to make yourself whole. And that shadow they feared, that darkness they called dangerous, it was always your strength. They just didn't want you to see it, but now you do, and you'll never unsee it again. The path to power. You've met the darkness. Now you learn to wield it, because knowing your shadow isn't enough. You must walk with it. You must let it sharpen you. This is the path to power, not through pretending, not through perfection, but through the ruthless reclamation of your truth. You've tried soft strength. You've tried silent sacrifice. You've tried to earn love by disappearing. Did it work? No, because no one respects a ghost, not even the ones who claim to love it. But now you are visible. Now you stand, and with every boundary you set, you build spine. With every truth you speak, you build fire. With every no you say, you build a fortress. They don't like it? Good, that means it's working, because the people who benefited From your silence will never cheer for your roar, but let them fall away. Let them scatter. Your life is not a charity for the emotionally entitled. This is where your power begins, not with rage but with resolve, the resolve to no longer abandon yourself. For the comfort of others, you do not need to explain why your time matters. You do not need to apologize for protecting your peace. You do not need to justify your refusal to be drained. Your power is in your presence, unshaken, unyielding, unapologetic. Start small, but start loud. Say no, say less, say nothing. When silence is your armor, you will feel guilt. Let it burn. You will feel fear. Let it pass. You will feel alone. Let it sharpen you, because these are the growing pains of becoming real. You are rewiring every lie they fed you, that good means obedient, that love means sacrifice, that acceptance means erasure. More, you were not born to be liked. You were born to be whole. Let them misunderstand. Let them disapprove. Let them choke on their disappointment. You are not their savior. You are not their supply. You are not their fantasy. You are a force, a fury, a soul returned to itself. Is the path to power. Every time you choose yourself over performance, every time you protect your energy like a sacred flame, every time you speak with fire and let it cleanse what no longer deserves. You are not here to be palatable. You are not here to be good. You are here to be free, and freedom has a price. But silence costs more. Choose wisely. Choose you every single time. Story ends here. Please like, subscribe, and comment below your thought about this video. Thank you.